The great map of the continent lay stretched across the polished obsidian table, a tapestry of ambition and borders. Lord Valerius, his face a mask of grizzled certainty, and his voice like grinding stone, slammed a mailed fist onto the neighboring kingdom of Ashgar. "Hear, your majesty. Gold bleeds from their mountains. Their armies are scattered. A swift, decisive campaign, and the wealth of a generation will fill our coffers." The council murmured in agreement. They were old men who understood the world through the sharp, simple logic of a sword's edge. Power was taken, wealth was seized, glory was won on the battlefield. But the new emperor, Kalen, a young man whose eyes held a disquieting calm, did not look at the kingdom of Ashgar. His finger traced a different path, a jagged, angry line on the map that represented the Great Chasm, a treacherous river that cut their own kingdom of Viridia in half. It was a barrier that made trade slow, travel dangerous, and unity fragile. "No," Kalen said, his voice quiet but absolute. The murmuring stopped. Valerius stared, incredulous. "No? Your Majesty, this is the destiny of Viridia. Our banners flying over their capital, their tribute ensuring our prosperity." "Prosperity built on blood is fleeting, my lord," Kalen countered, rising to his feet. He walked to the grand window overlooking the capital. "You want to plunder their gold? I want to build a bridge." A stunned silence fell over the room. A bridge? The idea was absurd. The Great Chasm was a monster of stone and rapids. To bridge it would be a Herculean task, a project that would drain the royal treasury for a decade, perhaps more. For what? To make it easier for farmers to cross with their carts? "You would spend our army's budget, our kingdom's strength, on stone and wood?" Valerius' voice dripped with contempt. "I would spend it on our future," Kalen replied, turning back to them. His eyes were alight with a vision they couldn't see. "I will not build an empire of subjects held by fear. I will build an empire of connections, an empire so vital, so interconnected, that its wealth flows not from conquest, but from commerce. We will not be conquerors. We will be the crossroads of the world." The council was horrified. This wasn't leadership, it was madness. But the emperor's word was law. And so the great project began. The clink of coins filling soldiers' pouches was replaced by the ring of quarry hammers against stone. The royal vaults, once overflowing with gold, began to empty at an alarming rate. Nobles whispered in shadowed halls, their fortunes tied to military campaigns that would never happen. Soldiers, once proud warriors, were now laborers, their swords gathering dust while their hands grew calloused from rope and stone. Kalen was everywhere. He stood with the engineers, studied the blueprints, and even worked alongside the men, his royal robe stained with the mud of the riverbank. He was pouring everything into this singular, monumental gamble. His entire reign, the fate of his kingdom, was being staked on this bridge. Years passed. The bridge slowly, magnificently took shape. Two colossal stone towers rose from the chasm's edges, reaching for each other like titans. But as the final keystone was being prepared, the kingdom's resources were stretched to their absolute limit. The treasury was a hollowed-out cavern. The granaries were low. The people were growing restless. It was then that the watchman from the eastern towers sounded the alarm. An army was on the move, and it was coming from Ashgar. They weren't scattered. They were unified, and they were marching directly towards Viridia's border. Lord Valerius, his face grim with vindication, approached the emperor. "Your bridge has made us poor, and our poverty has made us weak. Now they come to take what little we have left." The emperor stood on the ramparts, watching the dust cloud of the approaching force grow on the horizon. His council was in a panic. His people were terrified. Had his great vision been nothing but a catastrophic, naive dream? The column from Ashgar finally came into view. There were thousands of them. They carried banners, bright and flapping in the wind. But as they drew closer, the watchmen from the eastern tower squinted, their expressions shifting from terror to utter confusion. Those weren't war banners. They were merchant flags. The glint on the horizon wasn't the sun on 10,000 spear points. It was the shine on lacquered wagons and polished brass. This was not an army of invasion. It was a trade caravan, the largest ever seen. Their leader, a wealthy merchant prince from Ashgar, rode forward and bowed before Kalen. "Emperor Kalen," he announced, his voice filled with awe as he gestured toward the nearly completed bridge. "We have watched your great work for years. You have tamed the great chasm. You have opened up a path not just through your kingdom, but to the entire world beyond it. We do not come to conquer your lands. We come to pay for the privilege of crossing them." Lord Valerius, standing beside the emperor, was speechless. The fortune in goods, spices, silks, and precious metals contained in that caravan was greater than any treasure he had ever dreamed of plundering. And they weren't fighting for it. They were offering it. When the bridge was finally opened, it wasn't just a path over a river. It became an artery. Everything began to flow through Viridia. The kingdom, once isolated, was now the vital heart of the continent. The tolls collected from the bridge and the taxes from the booming markets refilled the royal treasury 10 times over. The roads Kalen built next brought even more traffic, and the canals he dug turned their farmlands into the breadbasket of the world. Viridia grew rich not by taking, but by facilitating. Not by hoarding, but by connecting. Years later, an elderly Lord Valerius stood with Emperor Kalen, looking out not at a military map, but at a map showing the incredible web of trade routes that now converged on their capital. "I saw wealth as a pile of gold locked in a vault, something you had to seize before someone else did," Valerius admitted, his voice thick with emotion. "And that pile can always be stolen or spent," Kalen said softly. "But true wealth, Valerius, is not a pile, it's a flow. You don't build wealth by conquering your neighbors. You build it by creating something so valuable, so essential, that the world willingly beats a path to your door. You wanted to take their assets. I chose to build the system through which all assets must pass." This tale of an emperor isn't just about bridges and kingdoms. It's a powerful lesson about the very nature of wealth. So many of us are taught to think like Lord Valerius. We chase short-term gains. We focus on acquiring things, on winning a zero-sum game. We try to conquer our little piece of the world. But true, lasting prosperity is built like Kalen's bridge. It's created by investing in assets that provide value to others. It's building a business, developing a skill, creating a network, or investing in infrastructure that serves a genuine need. This is the shift from an extractive mindset to a creative one. You stop asking, "What can I take?" and you start asking, "What can I build?" If you believe in building bridges in your own financial life, in creating systems of value rather than just chasing piles of gold, then you've found your community here at Money Minds Tales. Subscribe and join us. Let's learn how to become the indispensable crossroads of our own world together.